Yo, what's going on, guys? And today I want to hear your guys' opinions. Before we start today's video, we're going to be talking about the Chicago Bulls off-season preview. We'll do the predictions once the lottery happens. So before we start today's video, let me hear your thoughts in the comments, what the Bulls should do. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. So I think they are going to keep Josh Giddey, and that will lead to either Ayo Dosunmu or Coby White being moved, because there is kind of like a log jam at the guard position. But I don't think that's the most likely thing to happen. They could end up keeping all of them. I think Vooch does get traded as he's expiring. I don't think they're going to keep him, and it just makes sense that they're going to move on from that. So let's talk about this team. What do they have? And I think this is a squad that there are pieces, there are things that are coming together that I like in terms of what they've been able to do here. And I think Billy Donovan is a good coach. This is a squad that obviously was eliminated in the play-in for the third straight season. And the Bulls have won, what, 36 games, 39 games, 40 games. And they've only made the playoffs once in the past 5 years. Now, I think they did a pretty good job to end the season, as they finally had a more balanced roster after trading Zach LaVine. Coby White, Vucevic, Giddey, Josh Giddey was averaging a triple-double. Coby White was the perfect two-guard next to him. Vucevic was the power forward we all dreamed he could be. Vooch stretched the floor. Like, things were coming together, and I liked it. I really did. And if you saw, this is a team that going into the offseason, they were the third best in rebounding, fifth best in assists, sixth in points, and they were one of the top three in three-point shooting. Now, their field goal and three-point percentages were middle of the road. Offensive rebound, they were the fifth worst, while they were number one in defensive rebounds. And they turned the ball over bottom half of the league, and they weren't a great perimeter defensive team. However, if you just see who was playing for them, like I said, I think out of the three, I think they're going to keep White and Giddey. I think Dosunmu could be the guy that they could use in trade, but I think they would keep them. The one that I think is most likely to get traded is probably Vooch. I like how Herter spaced the floor for them. That was huge. Patrick Williams is the guy that I think is the other most likely one to trade if possible. It's just he's going to be hard to trade. Lonzo Ball is a great sixth man for them. You know, Jalen Smith, I thought was going to be a more impactful fit. He wasn't as much as I thought, but he's someone that next year could be a better fit. As we keep looking through the rest of this team, I think they have, between Coby White, Josh Giddey, and Vucevic, like I said, I think those are the three guys you should build around, unless you get an offer for White, or not, maybe not offer, but maybe a player demands a trade and they're like, oh, well, you can have this better player, but we want White as the package. Then I think they wouldn't have a real problem around that. But they have several first-round picks over the next 7 years, and I think there's a foundation to build here, and it's better than what they had in previous seasons. So this team may not be perfect, but I think the opportunities they have to either improve through the draft or through trades is actually really exciting. And even if this year isn't the year that they become championship contenders, if they can just take the step to be a playoff team while keeping cap flexibility and assets open for 2026, which is going to be a humongous free agent class, that they can actually get some talent. If there isn't any trade worth doing, then that's a win too, because then you can show any free agents like, hey, we have a winning program here. You're the piece that's going to put us over the top. So, and they have 9 players between 20 and 25 as of like right now, which is huge. Now, the LaVine trade gave Chicago control over its first-round pick for the first time since 2021. The trade also balanced their cap sheet, giving the Bulls flexibility to re-sign Josh Giddey while still having the option to either add through free agency, swing the trade, or keep that cap flexibility open for 2026. And the Bulls have no players earning more than $22 million next season and only have $45 million guaranteed in total salary for the 26 to 27 season. Now, the Bulls have $135 million committed, but because of the free agent hold on Josh Giddey, which is $25.1 million, their first round pick, they will not have cap space and are $46 million below the luxury tax. And Chicago will have access as a result to the non-tax mid-level, which is $14.1 million per year, which it has to be a 3-year deal or 4-year deal. You can do the math right there. $56 million or $42 million are what the going rates are. 3-year 42 or 4-year 56, and a biannual of 5.1. Now, veteran minimums and second round pick exceptions, and they also have trade exceptions up to 7.2 million and 2.9. You can't combine those, but you can use one. Like if they were to put Pat Williams with a trade exception, you can then trade for a $35 million salary. Now, we already said Josh Giddey, who was averaging after February like 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists, 6 triple doubles, are now tied for 4th most in Bulls history, and he's gonna stay. All right, nobody's gonna go for him unless Brooklyn like somehow gets a boner for him, but I don't think that's gonna happen. And he's gonna get more than $30 million a year. I think $35 million. I know starting point guards is 38, but I think they're gonna maybe do 35 and give him a backloaded deal. If they do $38 million, I think it'll be a front-loaded deal, which I would do, pay him more now and pay him less later. With that being said, I think the second priority is going to be trying to get some defense here and finding out which veterans you have that you want to keep. So supposedly they're trying to trade Vooch, and then Zach Collins will be the starting center. Jalen Smith will be the backup, and they will probably draft someone. I would love if they draft someone like Newell or Thomas Sorber or even a Ryan Kalkbrenner if you really like. I think more. I mean, if Kamal Mawach falls to them, take Mawach. Newell are the two that are, and Derek Queen are the 3 that I think if you draft have starter potential. Kalkbrenner and Thomas Sorber I think are more backups, good backups. But I like Kevin Huerter is someone I think they should keep unless like a trade comes where you throw him. The floor spacing he brought at 6'7" was huge, and I think you saw how much better they were with him there. While I think Vooch, he is extension eligible as soon as the NBA finals conclude, but I would just move on from him. Now, outside of Giddey, if I think you need to keep Coby White unless like a trade becomes available. He finished 2nd in most improved player voting last season, and White was named Eastern Conference Player of the Month. He had 3 straight games of 35 points, and he's eligible to sign a 4-year, $90 million extension this July. Now, Dalen Terry is someone I would shop. He clearly isn't there, but I'm talking about defense. This is the team that ranked 23rd in efficiency and last in points allowed in the paint. And the Bulls have their own first this year. I think I've said it before. I think they should go big man, find Vooch's replacement. You have Zach Collins and Jalen Smith be veterans behind the rookie. If you just look at free agency in terms of who's going to be available, I think you're going to probably want to bring in shooting guards and small forwards. I think they're good in the front court. I really think their front court's fine, especially if you end up drafting someone. I think if they can bring in Malik Beasley, finished 2nd and made 3-pointers this past season, and also shooting 42%. He's an okay defender, and he's probably one of the best shooters in the league. Average 16 points would be perfect, and that would then allow you to move off of Kevin Huerter. Outside of a guy like that, I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker is someone who gives you a good level of defense, is a great lateral, has some great lateral quickness, and he can score, but he's even more effective as a defender. Now, players who are going to be able to give you some defense, Keon Ellis, he had a good year shooting from 3 on low volume, but he has some nice athleticism, some bounce, and he's going to be able to come in, give you some perimeter defense as a role player. Now, Bruce Brown's someone they could have interest in, but I just think he's more of a guy that'll go to a contender. Same thing with Gary Payton. Garrison Matthews, though, who's shown he can be a spot-up shooter and a slasher, that is a really good deflector. He just gets into the passing lanes and constantly is just putting his hands on balls and just, being able to clog up passing lanes, even if he might not end up with a steal. I mean, he didn't get much run this year after being buried on the depth chart, but he's someone that they could be interested in. Jayshawn Tate's another energy forward who he might go to a contender, but he could play 3 or the 4. He's a solid slasher. He'll put back some rebounds, and he is a league average 3-point shooter. Now, Talen Horton-Tucker, he's still under 25. He was pretty solid for them this year, and he's been able to show that he can drive pretty well as he has some huge shoulders, and because of his wingspan, he's been able to rebound and guard, 1 through 3 consistently. And due to the fact that he can go ahead and just put 2 assists a game almost, I think just the multifaceted nature of his game as a gadget player would be useful. Now, outside of that, I think Zaire Williams would be too big of a swing. Javonte Green's someone to just go for a contender. Jabari is more of a power forward. And if you're even going front court players, I think it would be someone else that'd be interesting to see. Well, and unless they're going to go out and get themselves somebody like Santi Alama, which, okay, I would love it if they got themselves Santi Alama. I don't know why. Santi Alama would be cool if they could sign and trade for a guy like him. I think Billy Donovan would actually be pretty stoked to have Santi on this team. Now, I think he's the only, and I don't think bringing back Bobby Portis or trading for John Collins would help you. And I think Dorian Finney-Smith is going to stay in LA. So, Gershon Yabusele, Chris Boucher, I don't think is really going to be the one that moves the needle for people. Which then leaves you, I think Jake LaRavia or Larry Nance could be like full combo forwards that help you out. But the market for that position is a bit bare, and I understand. So, that's where we're at. I want to hear your guys' thoughts, what you would do and why. I think are definitely in an interesting position that they could make a move. And I think Bulls fans, you should be happy. You have a good future.